Hi, I'm Tony, and welcome to my channel, Watch Time LA. Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of Watch Time LA. Today we're going to be discussing the Parnis. Some people love them, some people hate them, some people have no idea what they are. I'm going to try in a very brief, short window here to tell you exactly what I think they are. You'll have to do your own research and come to your own conclusion. This is just kind of what I'm seeing, what I'm gathering, and what I've found out doing a lot of extensive research on the internet. First, don't forget to take a look at my new website, watchtimela.com. Bunch of reviews and repair videos on there. I have of course, my YouTube channel where you're seeing me now. My list of subscribers is growing, but I need to grow much more. And if you like the video, please subscribe. And don't forget, check out the link in the show notes here, and I'll have a link to my eBay store. I have over 100 watches on there right now. Great for Christmas gifts, stocking stuffers, starting at $9.95. So let's get to the story. What is a Parnis? Well, a Parnis watch is a company or a brand sold primarily in Europe and the United States. This gentleman here, I am not even going to try and say it. Look it up on Wikipedia. A gentleman in China happens to own the trademark, and from what I can tell, they use Siegel movements. And I'm going to tell you, we're doing a little bit of Back to the Future here because I already did the review on the watch and sent it back to the gentleman who was kind enough to send it to me all the way from Michigan. And so the Parnis uses Siegel movements. I haven't been able to verify that directly because I opened up the watch that I'm about to review and I could not find any markings on it whatsoever. But it does appear to be a not so well made Chinese movement, although again, can't guarantee that 100%. So do your own research. Look around on the Parnis. You'll find their website and you'll find the Wikipedia page here. Now, I went onto the Parnis website, and I have to tell you, there's the terms of use on their website, and it's all written in very English legalese. It's the most extensive terms of use page I've ever seen. And as far as a contact page, normally you can't even find one anymore. If it does have a contact page, it's just a little contact form. But here you can pretty much contact everyone in the company. So I'll give them a big thumbs up there. Whether they actually respond or not, I don't know. My guess is that they do. We have their collections. We're going to jump right into that. Now, as you look through these collections, if you are a watch aficionado, and I mean on the upper end, you're going to notice a lot of watches here that look very similar to other brands. I'm going to point out that some of these watches, although they have different, if you look, there's no markings on this whatsoever. And as we scroll down the page, they have quite a few watches that look like other watches. I mean, what does this one look like here? The one that says new. Unfortunately, I can't hover over it and show it to you. So as we scroll down, we see quite a few watches. Here is just an example. It says sterile. So I guess what sterile means is that here's a whole bunch of look-alike watches that are sterile. They have no names on them, no ID of any kind, but they sure do look like other watches. For instance, does that look exactly like Panerai? To me, it does. I don't know about you. I would imagine that in certain places in the world, people might put their own logos on here, or maybe perhaps Panerai? I don't know. I'm not saying anyone does that. I'm just saying it sure would be easy. By the way, you see these pop-ups down here? It keeps popping up saying someone bought a watch an hour ago, 15 minutes ago, and all this other nonsense. So here's another example. Here's another example of a Parnis lookalike. Now, here's a Rolex sub GMT. Now, the only difference I really see on these two watches is the bezel. And according to the manufacturer's page, they do sell these in ceramic as well as in aluminum. But other than the bezel, which definitely looks different, notice the triangle here, and the triangle here is much broader and wider. Same thing with the numbers. But if you look at the indices, you look at the GMT hand, and even the second hand, it is absolutely identical. The Mercedes hour hand, the sword minute hand, they're absolutely identical. The crown guards, the only difference I would say on these two is the crowns. One is much shallower than the other. So, you're going to have to make your own decision as to what Parnis is and what they do. But they do supply in bulk, and I also understand that you can select watches from the catalog and order them in bulk. They'll actually drop ship to places also. I imagine you could put your name on any of these. Here's another example. But you can also order this unit directly. For instance, this one here is $149 US. If you wanted to order this almost exact copy of a Rolex, then you could. Comes with a sapphire crystal, an automatic movement, 21 jewels, beats at 21,600 beats per hour, 45-hour power reserve, ceramic bezel, 316 stainless steel bracelet with stainless steel end links. So for $149, you're basically getting something apparently as good as a Rolex, right? Well, we'll see when we do the video. Anyway, I don't want to keep boring you with this, so I just wanted to give you a quick rundown on what Parnis is, what they might be. Do your own research, find out for yourself, make your own decisions, but stay tuned. The actual video review is coming up now.
Okay, now that you've seen all that, we're back in the studio, or my garage as I like to call it, and we're going to be discussing the Parnis watch. Now, first things first, it came in this box. By the way, really important, the watch was sent to me by one of my subscribers. His name is Dan C out of Michigan. C is just the last initial. I don't want to use his last name, but he has sent me two watches, and this is one of the two. I want to get the video portion out of the way. So anyway, the box, the Parnis watch that he sent me came in this box. It simply says Deep Blue Precision Diver. It's very odd that a manufacturer of any watch would not put their name on it. And that goes back to what I discussed earlier. But here's the box, and of course one of the first things is I could not figure out how to open this damn thing. I was pulling and tugging and seeing where it opened and lifting the sides, and then I finally got it open by taking my jigsaw, and I cut right through the top, right like you see here. Actually, no, I didn't do that. Not my watch. That would have been funny though, huh? So then I realized it was just these two little guys that slid out like that. So I guess this is kind of like, high security. You could put locks, regular type padlock through here and keep it locked so no one could break into the plastic box. I don't know why else they did that. But anyway, slide it open, pop out the watch, and it's just in this, foam. There is nothing else, unless he didn't send me something. There's nothing else that came in this box except the watch. I'm sure it had some sort of wrapper over it, but there's nothing in there. That's it. The way this comes, again, leads me to believe some other things about it, but I'll tell you what, I'd rather have my watch come in a box like this than a lot of the cardboard stuff that you get. But this isn't a box review, it's a watch review. First look at the watch. Well, I think it's about 42. I'll take an exact measurement. But it's obviously a Homage watch, right? Definitely with the Cyclops, we're going for the Rolex sub. It's actually a GMT. It's a very interesting working GMT. I'll show you how that works a little bit later on. But At first look, now again, this is somebody's used watch. This is not a watch out of a box. So at first glance, it seems it has some good weight. It seems to be well made. It looks like Dan already put a hell of a scratch in there, and I'll try and polish that out for him before I send it back, as a gesture of goodwill for sending me the watch to review. So the finishing on it looks pretty darn good. The bezel looks pretty darn good. I checked it out. It's a 120 click bezel. It has virtually no back play, almost nothing. Well, nothing that I could detect anyway. And it works ever so smoothly. Very smooth and very quiet. As far as the lineup, I'll do it under the scope, but it looks almost perfect. Now, according to the manufacturer page, this has a sapphire crystal. It's obviously not coated, or you wouldn't see that incredible glare. I don't know whether the Cyclops is sapphire. My guess is that it's not. I'm not quite sure. Has a very pronounced crown guard, and it is a screw down crown. Try not to move this thing too much here. So it pops out. You can see the spring tension right there. It's windable. You can feel it winding and getting a little tighter. One of my pet peeves, we're going to check the detents. That's the first detent. And I got to tell you, it is moving the GMT hand, right? I got to tell you, it feels kind of weird. It kind of skips. It kind of feels like there's sand in there or something. Turn it the other way, it moves the date. Obviously not a quick date. I'm getting about a full rotation per day. Again, it feels very sticky, like I can't explain it. Not sand so much, but like it has some sort of gum or glue or something on it. Maybe you can see the movement. It almost has a stop in between. You can see the reverse tension when I try and move it. That might be a result of the GMT, I don't know. But the GMT hand moves in two ways. If you pull the crown all the way out to set the time, you see it moves in relation to the hour hand. If you put it back in and go the half click, it moves by itself, which is kind of weird because, I don't know, would you set it at a half an hour for any reason? I guess if you were timing something, you would. I can't understand a reason why you would do that, but I'm going to try and get as close as I can in focus and see if you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's some back pressure on this. You see how it kind of goes backwards? But anyway, I mean, once it starts moving, it's fairly fluid. And the date probably is around a 2.5 magnification, which is pretty standard and exactly the same as the Rolex. So setting the date and time is good. Screw down crown. And it also has the Rolex style screw down case back. Now, if you've ever seen a real Rolex, most of them don't have anything on the back, just like this one. So if you're just looking at the back of this without seeing that, you really wouldn't know. Now, as far as the clasp goes, it's a very, very nicely stainless steel machined clasp. Very nicely made. Has a very solid click to it. There's no way that's coming out of there. It's really, really, probably one of the best ones I've seen as far as the way it latches on. Now, it doesn't have a diver extension or anything, but it is a solid stainless steel bracelet. And believe it or not, it has screws and not pins. You see them in there. So again, this is something you'd normally find on a very high-end watch. And it also has solid stainless steel end links. And the bracelet, overall, is pretty good. Not a lot of rattle. The only thing I saw that was kind of strange was what, for solid stainless steel end links, they kind of, you see how they move around? And you know what? I don't know what I think I have another one that has solid end links. I'll take a look and see if those clearances are that bad. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I really don't know. I also have the special tool. I'm going to be taking this apart. Dan allowed me to do that on this one again. Appreciate it, Dan. Shout out again. The overall finishing on the watch, the bracelet is all brushed. And it's brushed very, very well. All the way around. Again, it's been worn, so it's got some battle scars on it. You see them right there. Can't blame the watch for that. Looks like Dan was wearing this pretty regular. And kind of, because it has scratches on the watch and it has none on the crystal, I think we can easily confirm that this is in fact a sapphire. And the bezel is supposed to have a ceramic insert, and I will tell you just by looking at it, it's definitely not aluminum. So I would have to say that that's also the case. So what we have here is a watch with a sapphire crystal, a bezel with a ceramic insert, an all stainless steel watch, stainless steel end links, screw down crown, and a very nice bracelet. I give the bracelet, honestly, except for the fit right here, which I can't blame on the bracelet, I give it a 9.9 in my Olympic score. It has, I don't know about the movement yet. We're going to be taking it apart. I'll get you some specs on it as soon as I know what's in here. I assume it's a seagull, but it could be anything. It doesn't say down at the bottom there what kind of movement it is. But as you can see from the dial, it's a very deep, looks like a lacquered black dial. And the Parnis is really the only other wording on there besides the automatic and GMT logo. Coin bezel. We'll take a closer look at the scope, but in the meantime I'm going to pop the back off of this and see what we're looking at. Okay, so when I popped open the bracelet, the spring bar completely fell apart. Now I can put it back together or replace it. I don't know exactly which one I'll do yet, but this doesn't happen real often, especially on a new watch. I've seen it on old watches, but I give the quality of the spring bar a 0. Let me put that in a safe place for now. Now, when you're taking these watches apart, you really need to get the right tools. This is a kit that I've had for a while. This is basically for Rolex watches, and although they make them for other sizes, for other watches, and a lot of manufacturers have different ways to open their cases. The Rolex has been using this for a very long time. So you just simply put this on here. If it's real tight, you put this on here and you just twist. Now you always hold the case and not the bracelet, otherwise the bracelet can snap off on you. There's a couple of very cheap tools that they sell on eBay to take these off. They're absolutely junk. Don't even bother. How do I know? Because I tried. Boy, this is really hard to open. That shouldn't do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the case open. It didn't take a lot of force, but once I started unscrewing it, apparently the threads weren't machined very well. When you start unscrewing a Rolex case back, once you break the seal, you can pretty much just take it off with your fingers. It moves very smoothly. This, not so much. So here is our unsigned movement. Or not that I can see anyway. I don't see any indication of any type of writing or markings or numbers, which is really unusual actually. I mean, even in the cheapest watches I've seen, even in, you know, a $10 quartz watch, I'll say Miyota or something, I was expecting to see Seagull or even a Miyota Japanese movement. I don't know what this is. I'll do a little more research on this and get back to you in a bit, but you know, it's not finished that badly. I've opened up some Seikos and you know, they put a case back on them for a reason. They are nothing to look at. This one was machined okay. We'll know better on the scope in a few minutes here. I guess the only thing to do now, go into the scope, then we'll do some measurements, do a loom shot, and see if we can wrap this up in record time, especially for me. Be back in a minute. Okay, so we got the watch underneath a scope between 15 and 20x magnification, and here is where we can start seeing the movement and how it's created. You'll see, you know, it looks like a lot of this stuff is just cast metal. We have a blue screw there. You can see at least two of the jewels right here. And I can tell you just from looking at this movement, although I have to say that I haven't seen any Seiko movements look much better, but the machine, it's not really machined. Well, maybe part of it is just slightly cleaned up. The look at that, the drum that holds the mainspring is purple. Very odd. This is the very first movement that I've ever opened up that had no markings on it. It doesn't say unadjusted, adjusted, it doesn't say anything. Anyway, let's take a look at the case and see what we have as far as manufacture goes. Let's see if we can dial it in a little closer. You know, I don't know. They say it's 316 stainless steel, but boy, it's just not finished very well. I think the $35 original I did the other day looked better than this. And let's look at that gap again, if we can see it. You see the fit of the bracelet. Well, you guys tell me, what do you think? Got any comments about this movement? About this watch case? Now there's the threads, and this is what I see on a lot of watches, unfortunately, is all of that is Dan's dead skin. Dan really likes this watch, by the way, and you know what? I don't blame him. It feels like it's well built. It looks like it's well built. I'm going to turn it over here so we can look at the other side of this. Okay, I have to really mess around with the lighting. Although this is a sapphire crystal, it has an incredible amount of glare, and when you're working under a scope, it really picks up every little light deflection. So let's look at a couple of things first. Obviously, there's your wording, Parnis, and if we look at the indices, I don't even think that's a true rectangle. It looks like it's a little bit misshaped. What do you guys think? It does have some visible defects on it. The round ones look okay. The chapter ring looks like it's applied very well, but the date is, wow, that's really applied well. It almost looks 3D. Very nicely done in there. One of the best I've seen. Let's look at the hour hand. You have your typical Mercedes hour hand. All right, I'll give the hour hand 9. Let's look at the minute hand. See if we can get rid of some of this glare here. That looks pretty clean as well. In fact, I'm going to go back up to that 12 o'clock. Give this thing a try and give this a fair shake and see if I can cut out the glare. Okay, so still I'm not convinced that's a perfect rectangle. The dial is really a deep, deep, rich black. Let's move that hour hand one more time. Automatic, that was applied pretty well. That looks pretty good. It has a couple little dots on it right there, but I see this on a lot of different watches of all different price points. So this is not too unusual. And let's look at that really cool GMT hand. You know, a couple little things here. The red is perfect. Let's put it back together and do a Loom Shot. Okay, so here's the Loom Shot, and I have 3 watches here. Can you guess which ones they are? One is a Seiko SKX, the other one is the Parnis, and finally the other one is an Orient Ray 2. Which one's which? Let's find out. Bam. Okay, Orient Ray 2. Seiko SKX. And the Parnis. One thing we haven't done yet, I'm going to just do real quick, is we are going to have a case measurement of, let's see, let's say 41. Let's say a case thickness of 14, call it 14. A lug-to-lug width of 48. No, 50. Oh, sorry. My bad. Let's call it 48. And bracelet 1920. Okay, so what are we going to talk about? I know Dan really loves this watch and he thinks it's a great value. I guess, you know what, I think he paid 90 bucks or 99 bucks, I'm not sure. The dial is absolutely beautiful. I'm not going to take anything away from that. The ceramic bezel also looks very nice, especially compared to these ubiquitous aluminum bezels. You can see this one happens to be dull, but that's the way it was designed. At first look, obviously looks like a GMT sub, no question about that. Movement's nice, you know, as far as its function. But I don't know what it is. And actually, you might be seeing this in reverse. I may have figured out what it is in the first part of this video. But I'm shooting the video first so I can return this back to Dan. And I will be doing the screenshots later. Anyway, you know, signed there. But, you know, it's weird. It's signed there, but the box has no mention of Parnis. The movement has no mention of anything. There's not even some obscure number on it. There's nothing. You know, I don't know. I honestly, I like the watch, but you know, I think I paid $125 for my Orient, and I know it's an Orient. The lume is great. Doesn't have a sapphire crystal. I could turn that out. The finish on it is outstanding. Doesn't have a nicest bracelet as this one. I'll give it that. This has a much nicer bracelet. So I don't know. I think for 25 bucks, I'll stay with my Orient. Obviously, this is your taste all the way. I think that it's a good value. There's no question about that. But, you know, I think it has a questionable pedigree, and I'll leave it at that. But anyway, for some quick business, don't forget to check out my website, www.watchtimela.com. From there, you can click on my eBay store. Holidays are coming up. I got watches for you, your wife, your kids, all at very, very reasonable prices, starting at $10. And free shipping when you order 3 or more. So go check out the store. I hope you like the video. If you do like the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Your subscriptions keep me going. And if you know, I've just looked at some of my views, and I need to get more views. I need to get more subscriptions in order for me to keep this hobby up. So thank you very much once again for checking it out, and we'll see you the next time.